Oh, I'm not looking forward to the comment section on this one. Hey everybody, it's me, Aaron.
I'm Michelle.
Welcome back to the post-Shriek Out reaction, the 31 days of horror movie reviews that we do every single year as part of Thorgiween. And this is the continuation of the B-Squad week. It is that week dedicated to those horror movie icons who never quite reached that level of fame as some of the other horror movie icons out there. But that isn't to say that they aren't good, that isn't to say that they don't have their fans, they just never quite broke into the mainstream. But a lot of them still continuously got tons and tons of work. And Maniac Cop is one of those characters, because this is one of those guys who, he's got like 4 films. And I remember vaguely hearing about Maniac Cop like a long time ago, but he didn't really come back to my attention until there is this, I don't even want to call it an indie game, because that implies like you could go on Steam and buy it right now. There was a fan game, that's what it is. There was a fan game called Terrordrome that was a fighting game between horror icons. And you look at it and it's like, okay, you got Leatherface, you got Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, you got Ash Williams in there, you got Pinhead, you got Candyman, you got Chucky, you got all these characters in there. And then there was Maniac Cop in there. And there was a couple of other like B-Squad guys in there. Pumpkinhead was in there, but I knew Pumpkinhead. The Tall Man was in there, I knew the Tall Man. Reanimator was in there, I knew Reanimator. I looked at that and went, even among some of the B-Squad guys in here, he does not feel like he fits in there. Some of these other, like, even among these other guys, it feels like they've got the cult following, and this guy, he can't even quite reach that cult following. But then I looked around, I was like, no, he had 4 movies, that's a thing. And after I finally watched this film for Thorgiween, this is one of the most cult films I have ever seen in my life. This thing, it stars Bruce Campbell, and it also stars, I cannot remember his name, but he was in, he is, God, I'm forgetting everything else that he's done, but he is another famous horror icon guy. Like, he is one of the big, like, top 5 horror icon guys out there, and I always forget his name. It's one of those names that as soon as I hear it, I'm going to, like, lose my mind. But yeah, it's got those 2 in there. It's got a cameo by Sam Raimi in here out of nowhere. He didn't direct it. He just has a cameo. And Sam Raimi, not an actor. He's a director. But he's a cult film director, so they're just like, have him in here as a newsman. Okay. And it was written by Larry Cohen, who is the king of B-movies. This film, I understand why it's got an audience out there. Because just from the ingredients that were dumped into it alone, it's like, yep, check, 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 check. Yeah, okay, it's got everything that like the cult movie fans enjoy in here. And I gotta be honest with you, I like this. I actually really enjoyed this film.
By the way, I didn't see this.
She did,
so.
yes. We should go ahead and point that out. Yes, she is starting school up at the exact time that Thorgiween begins. So we're gonna be jumping back and forth between films that both of us saw and only I saw. This is one of the ones that only I saw. But yeah, Maniac Cop. It is a film that is set in the 1980s in New York, which, by the way, that's one thing that I gotta point out right now. This film was made in 1988, so it does have Bruce Campbell in there. This is pre-Army of Darkness Bruce Campbell. It's post-Evil Dead 2, which is when he kind of like jumped up there and the cult movie fans were starting to pay attention to him. But it was before Army of Darkness where everybody was like, yeah, so you're the guy who just spouts out one-liners all the time, right? And it literally took me about 5 minutes before I went, oh my God, that's Bruce Campbell. And Bruce Campbell, like, I am a massive Evil Dead fan. And I'm looking at the star of the Evil Dead films for 5 minutes going, wow, that guy, he could be a stunt double for Bruce Campbell. But the reason why is because Bruce Campbell, he's kind of got this swagger to him. He's got this charm and this bravado about everything that he says. But he developed that in the last 5 minutes of Evil Dead 2, but became the guy that he is in Army of Darkness. So this was back when it was like, no, he's just an actor. And we hired him for a role, and he's going to be that guy in this role.
It's really interesting to like see like like big famous actors, like when they first start out, like you can tell like they're not as experienced or as confident or something like that, or
well,
like,
it's not even that. It's more just
like
he wasn't typecast yet.
Typecast, yes.
That's the term that we're looking for here. Is like he had not been typecast yet as Ash. He was now just like he was an actor, and he was going to be in things, and he was going to act in things. And he does a pretty decent job in here. Also, I just gotta come in here and say, 1988 Bruce Campbell was hot. I've never seen that guy try and be sold as like a sex symbol. But there's moments in which he's taking his shirt off and he's got like, he's got the I work out abs in there. And I was like, holy shit.
Well, maybe I need to watch this.
Ash was rocking this the entire time. He didn't even need the chainsaw arm. This is a very weird statement for anybody who has never seen Evil Dead. This film is set in 1988 New York, and there is a police officer who is going around just murdering innocent victims. I will give the comment section time to make all the jokes that you want about that.
Oh boy. Awkward.
Listen, we're doing the B Squad week. I had to do it. I had to get to Maniac Cop. It was here. I can't help it if the entire world went insane this year. Well, that implies that there weren't problems before this year. Sorry. Let's all just try and get through this review, and let's all just keep in mind how shitty the world is right now. Anyway, so, I'm sorry, I'm literally thinking of like 9 jokes that I'm like, it's too goddamn good. Just say one, you idiot. No, okay. So, this film, there's someone, we don't know if he's an actual cop or just some guy dressing up as a cop or something, but it then follows this detective who is investigating the case, and it also follows, this is another one of those films that has like 2 protagonists in it, and the cop is the B-movie actor whose name I cannot remember for the life of me. Vic, if you're out there and you're watching this, I apologize, man, because I know you are screaming it at me right now. But then it will cut back and forth to Bruce Campbell. And when they first introduced Bruce Campbell, it's kind of like they're trying to set up that he could be this killer. Because, like, he's in here for, like, 3-4 minutes before you even see his face. Like, his wife is talking to him, and you just see, like, him from the back, and they're trying to shoot him kind of in a little bit of a creepy way, and then the wife starts following him around, like, oh, he's up to something. He's definitely doing things that he is not supposed to be doing. He's not on the clock right now. What's he trying to do out there on the streets in his cop uniform? What's he actually up to? Turns out he is having an affair. And he is not the Maniac Cop. And here's one of the weirdest things about this film. It's that, okay, we're going to get a little bit spoilery on this. I won't spoil, like, too much of what happens to these characters, but Bruce Campbell's wife ends up dying in this film, and she dies in the hotel where he was having the affair with someone, so everybody just assumes that he's the Maniac Cop, that he's the person who's doing all this stuff. But Bruce Campbell is having an affair with another cop who is working undercover. I think she's Vice. I can't really remember exactly. And they kind of like paint the 2 of them as being like really close partners throughout the rest of this film, as the 2 of them have to work together to solve this case. They never really kind of come back around to, oh yeah, Bruce, your wife died? Are you sad about that at all? Do you really like feel?
Well, I guess not if he's having an affair, like.
Well, I mean, you can have an affair and still like feel this is a very weird conversation with my actual wife. This is a very, this is in no way me like trying to validate anything I may or may not be doing at this exact time. And here I thought me talking about Maniac Cop and a killer NYPD agent was going to be the most awkward thing in this entire review.
Take a shot every time we do something awkward.
Take a sip. I am not having an affair on my wife. There's quarantine. You can't go out there and find any tail right now. It's a terrible time to have an affair.
Also, I'm not impersonating a cop and going around killing people.
Well, that implies that the Vice cop he's having the affair with. No, wait, that implies that his wife was. This metaphor doesn't work. This metaphor has stopped working. My point is, Bruce Campbell's character is doing a sleazy thing at the beginning of this film, but because they work well together, it feels like we're supposed to be like, yeah, but they were meant to be together, so it's fine. I'm like, no, he's still cheating on his wife. Also, his wife dies. He doesn't ever really seem that upset about it. So as hard as it is for me, a massive Bruce Campbell fan, to dislike Bruce Campbell, I kind of dislike Bruce Campbell in this.
Or at least his character.
His character, obviously. Yeah. But I mean, it is solely because the film doesn't really, it doesn't appear as if the film realizes that he's done a shitty thing. Which makes me wonder things about Larry Cohen. Anywho. So, we got off on such a wild tangent there. So anyway, he gets arrested, and then he's trying to work with this vice cop from behind bars in order to figure out what's going on, but then the detective is also trying to figure out what's going on. And needless to say, it's some semi-Jason Voorhees stuff. It's not like it's a big reveal or anything. It's not like it's one of those, and it was him all along. It's this character who you find out about like 5 minutes before they actually reveal to you that was him. But there was this cop who, they describe him as being the shoot first, ask questions never type. And eventually he did too many bad things. And so they sent him to prison, and he got attacked in the shower at prison, and they thought he was dead. And the more they investigate, the more it's like, yeah, we thought he was dead, but it's more that he was just kind of like brain damaged. And then his wife came in and asked to have the body taken out, and I was like, all right, sure. There's a little bit more to it just than like, all right, sure. But now he is going around trying to destroy the entire city. Basically, this just is Jason Voorhees. It is Friday the 13th.
Jason Voorhees if he was a cop?
It's Jason Takes Manhattan if Jason actually took Manhattan. That's what this film is. It's Jason Takes Manhattan if they didn't just dick around on a boat for an hour in that film, and Jason actually went to Manhattan. Yeah, because it is like Camp Crystal Lake is New York City. And now you've got a big zombie dude who just stabs people walking around and has superhuman strength. He even has like the disfigured face and all that stuff going for him. Although when you finally see his face at the end, it's not that bad. But then again, I've seen Maniac Cop in the sequels, and he gets like more rotten and more like messed up as each film goes along. So when I saw him in this one, I was like, oh, you're fine, man. You just got scars. That's not too bad. You can be totally fine with that. But one thing that
put some makeup on, cover up the scars.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be good. Chicks dig scars. But one thing that I do have to give this film is, we've been dancing around this very awkward topic of like we've all become very aware recently of rampant police brutality going on, especially within the NYPD. And I know there's a lot of people out there going, what do you mean just now we became aware of it? One thing I have to give this film is it does not shy away from, hey man, yeah, this detective guy, he's pretty good. Bruce Campbell, he's a sleazebag, but as far as being a cop, he's not bad. It does not try and paint like, oh, and all the cops are brave, heroic people, except for this one maniac cop, so they all must come together to stop him. No, they paint them all as kind of being fuck-ups. And I was kind of...
It just so happens this one is the more fucked up one.
He's the worst of the eggs. Yeah, and... Man, I can feel myself losing viewers by the second on this, but I did have to kind of applaud this film for kind of coming in here and not being afraid to kind of... Alright, let me put it to you like this. I have to applaud this film for coming in here and not making this a film where the maniac cop is just like, oh, he just happens to be a monster. But it's more of, as I have said many times before, all good horror films should be, it is a metaphor for something else, and it becomes very clear. This is a metaphor for, police brutality, police corruption, that stuff, because you see the stuff that's going on inside the police force itself, and it's like, oh shit, there's some messed up stuff going on here. And there's a moment in which, after the story gets out, that there is some guy dressing up as a cop going around murdering people. You see people around the city saying that they can't even trust cops, and then they interview this black guy, and he says, yeah, cops have killed like 3 of my friends, and they weren't even doing anything. And he says that like, no punchline, no nothing coming at the end of that. It's not set up for anything. It's just like, we're gonna stop, have some guy stare at the camera and go like, here's a quick thing about racism. And I was like, man, this is 1988. That's kind of bold that they were willing to talk about this stuff back then.
I'm just realizing, like, so many, like, horror movies in 1988 and, like, the 80s and 90s are, like, actually, like, becoming reality now. It's like, oof.
They tried to warn us.
They did!
Try to warn us. I have said it many times before. Horror movies, when you do them well, they're kind of meant to be commentary on stuff. Like, they might not so much be, like, topical stuff, but they can also be, like, things that are, larger issues, universal issues, timeless issues. Yeah, just like any art form out there. It's just that, most art forms don't have guys in rubber masks going around just stabbing people repeatedly, so it makes people not really look at these horror films and be willing to diagnose them with a certain level of seriousness that they might do another film out there. This was, out of all the Coen films out there, the Larry Coen films don't quite do as well as the Coen brother films when it comes to addressing big topical issues, but at least in terms of people recognizing them addressing that, because Coen also did The Stuff, which, man, that is a political film right there if you want to get into it. But yeah, I did enjoy this film. It is a decent slasher monsterish film, and you know me, I am not a fan of slasher films, but this is like one half horror film, one half crime thriller. And even though, again, it's slasher, I'm not really into slasher films, the crime thriller stuff was actually intriguing to me, and I was enjoying it. It was like, basically, this is essentially the B-movie version of Seven, is what it is. Is Seven with a bunch of cheese injected right inside of it. I'm sorry, were you gonna say something?
No, I was gonna say, did you also like this more than you were expecting because of like the topical issues? Or
I wouldn't say that I enjoyed it more than I was expecting because it addressed issues that makes it easier for me to discuss it in the landscape that we're living in right now. But I was pleasantly surprised by that. I was pleasantly surprised by how it was able to handle certain issues. Bruce Campbell, he's innocent. Every single cop on that force is just like, nope, don't care, arrest, just do this. Like, there are moments in which, like, the Maniac cop is here, and Bruce is here, it's like, it's him, come on. It's like, shut up, you, and just dragging him away. Sorry there, pal, he won't bother you anymore.
Bruce Willis was not the imposter.
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell. I mean, oh my god. There's too many Bruces.
We have one more review to record today. Anywho, but yeah, I did end up enjoying this, and this is gonna be an incredibly awkward review for someone to watch. We're probably gonna end up re-recording this entire thing.
Who knows, maybe.
Who knows? Maybe someone's going to enjoy how hard it was for me to balance B-movie cheese with stuff going on in the real world. There's gonna be people out there who's like, I did not expect realistic topics to come up in your review of Maniac Cop. It was like,
neither did we.
Hey man, I didn't go into expecting to talk about this stuff. I didn't go into this year expecting a lot of things, but here we are. Can't keep plugging your fingers in your ears and going la 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 la. These things aren't happening when a 1988 horror film was making goddamn commentary on this shit. Anyways, so that's enough of that. To the 5 people who are still subscribed to me after this review is done, I do not want to see the thumbs up, thumbs down ratio on this. I would just like to say, although I will go ahead and say this, to all the people out there who are about to go, I'm going to give them so many thumbs down on this. I'm going to let you know a secret about YouTube. YouTube decides how much to promote a video and how much money should go to that video based on interactions. And they count thumbs down as interactions. And they count negative comments as interactions. So you're allowed to give me all the thumbs down that you want. You're allowed to come in here and post all the negative comments you want. You're actually giving me more money and, like, promoting my video more.
For once, the YouTube algorithm is working in your favor.
I'm never going to say that. But anywho, We've got, what, 3 more days of B-Week? Let's see, Phantasm. No, we got 4 more days. We got 4 more days of it. So come back tomorrow for something that's a little bit more modern. Because most of the movies we've been reviewing have been old things from the 80s and 70s and such. Come back for one that is actually from the late 2000s. See you then, everyone, and happy Halloween.
Bye.